Good afternoon. Today we are going to start a new lesson from History Part, second chapter from Trade to Territory. See, this is what the period of a very significance in Indian history where we can observe that the enter of the East India Company. Now, in this chapter, dear students, so we are going to learn about how the British people originally came as a small trading company and how they were reluctant to acquire the territories and also how then did they come to be masters of a vast empire. So all those things we are going to cover in this chapter. Okay, see, we all of you knows that dear students, Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal ruler. He was the last ruler and also he was one of the powerful Mughal rulers. See, when we are studying last year the history of Delhi Sultans, the Mughal dynasty was the last dynasty which was ruled the Delhi and especially the maximum part of our subcontinent. So, among all Delhi Sultans, the Mughal Empire was the last dynasty which was ruled our country. See, among the different Mughal rulers, Aurangzeb was the last powerful king. So after that, one all they came to power as the head of the up to Bahadur Shah Jafar. Okay, they were all actually naturally they are leader, but they are not that much of eminent leader. They are not powerful rulers. See, Aurangzeb he established control over a large part of the territory that is now known as India. He was extended anything like the large part of the territory. He was covered and he was a successful ruler. Anyhow, understood now. See, after his death, so when he was died now, so Aurangzeb he was died in 1707. So when he was died in 1707, so the many Mughal governors and even these Mughal governors also called as Subedars. Mughal governors and also they were called as Subedars or Subadars. Okay, see, and not only the Mughal governors and even the Jamindars, they are the large land owners. Those were called as a Jamindars. See, these after the death of Aurangzeb, so the many of the Mughal governors, those were called as the Subedars, and even the big Jamindars, so they were began to asserting their authority and they were established their regional kingdoms. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಈ ಮುಘಲ್ ಗವರ್ನರ್ಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರರುಗಳು ಸೊ ಯಾರು ಈ ಒಂದು ಮುಘಲ್ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಹಿಡಿತದಲ್ಲಿದ್ರು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಹ ತಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯವನ್ನ ಘೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಪ್ರಾದೇಶಿಕ ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾದೇಶಿಕ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನ ಅವರು ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. See, as a powerful regional kingdoms emerged in various parts of India. So like that, so in a various part of India, so there were many new kingdoms were emerged during this time in a different part of the country. See, Delhi could no longer functions as an effective center. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ದೆಹಲಿ ಸುಲ್ತಾನರ ಆಳ್ವಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೆಹಲಿನೇ ಬಹಳ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆದ್ರೆ ಔರಂಗಜೇಬನ ನಂತರ ಸೊ ದೆಹಲಿ ತನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನ ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ when all came to power after the Aurangzeb, almost all they were all very weak. They were not that much of stronger, and they were unable rulers to rule, to control over that vast dynasty. So because of that reason, so the Subedars and others and even the landlords and Jamindars, so they were began asserting their authority, and they were established the regional kingdoms. Understood now? And by the second half of the 18th century, so a new power was emerging on the political horizon. So when it was happened now, by the second half of the 18th century, a new power was emerging on the political horizon, especially the entry of the Europeans. The entry of the Europeans more than the British. See, here in this chapter, so how British people originally came as a, so we all of you knows that all Europeans, not only the British, even the Dutch, even the French, and even the Portuguese, so they were all entered our country as a small traders. And the same the British also. So the British people also entered as the small traders, and how they are reluctant to acquire territories. They were acquired slowly. And even how then did they come to be masters of a vast empire? ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಮಕ್ಕಳ 1947 ಅಷ್ಟಲ್ಲೇ ಬಹಳ ಭಾರತ ಬಹುಭಾಗ ಅವರ ಒಡೆತನದಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ. 1947ಗೆ ಎಗೇನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಪವರ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಓವರ್ ಟು ದ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೀಡರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅವರ ದಾಸ್ಯದಿಂದ ಕೊನೆಗಾಣಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದ್ದು ಮಕ್ಕಳ. When East India Company entered, so from that onwards, so till 1947, our Indian national leaders, so they were struggle to gain their freedom. Getting now, so let us discuss about how the East India Company comes east. ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಕಂಪನಿ, ಸೊ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಭಾರತದ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಭಾಗ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ ಸೊ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಈ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿ. See, in 1600, East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, so Queen Elizabeth I. So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ, in 1600 East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England during the time Queen Elizabeth I. See, Queen Elizabeth I granting the permission, the sole right to trade with the East. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಮಕ್ಕಳ, ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಸೊ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್ನ ರಾಣಿ ಸೊ ಎಲಿಜಬೆತ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್, ಸೊ ಆಕೆ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಪರಮಾಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನ ಸೊ ಆಕೆ ನೀಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ any of the England trading companies not allowed to trade with East. So only the authorized company, which is called as the East India Company, granted to trade with the East by the Queen Elizabeth I. Elizabeth I, is it clear? Then after that what happened? This meant that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. So, who are got the permission or authority to trade with the India and the East? Only the East India Company. Then the other trading companies were not allowed to whether compete, whether trade with India, so with East India Company. Is it clear? Then after that what happened is, students, With this charter, the company could venture across the oceans. So, ಸಾಹಸದಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. And looking for new lands from which it could buy goods at a cheap price and carry them back to Europe to sell at higher price. So they are purchasing the goods at a cheap price. At a cheap price. ಸೊ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬೆಲೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವರು ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬೆಲೆಗೆ ಯುರೋಪ್ನ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾರಾಟವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. The company back the company did not have to fear competition from the other English trading companies because there is no competitors. Then there is no any other company so which is going to trade with the India. Why? Because the England Queen Elizabeth herself so granted the permission only to the East India Company to trade with the eastern countries. Okay, so that's what here. So there is no fear, and the company did not have any fear because there is no competition between the different. So only one company and other English companies were not permitted to trade with India. See, the mercantile means actually a business class enterprises or business enterprises that makes a profit primarily through trade. So for those we used to call as a mercantile. So they are buying goods cheap and selling them at higher prices. So for them, so the business enterprises we used to call as a mercantile. So these mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition, but they could buy cheap and sell for higher prices. So the Royal Charter, however, could not prevent other European powers from entering the eastern markets. So by the time the first English ship sailed down the west coast of Africa, and afterwards around the Cape of Good Hope and crossed the Indian Ocean, and the Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India. So during the time the first already the Portuguese they were established their presence in the western coast of India before coming of the British. Because we all knows that in 1498 the Vasco da Gama was the Portuguese sailor was discovered the new sea route for our country. So through that route, so the first time among all Europeans, the Portuguese they were established their presence in the western coast of India and had their base in Goa. Understood now? So they were started their base in Goa. In fact, it was Vasco da Gama. So because Vasco da Gama was discovered the new sea route for our country in 1498. Isn't it? See, Vasco da Gama, he was a sailor and he was a Portuguese explorer who had discovered this sea route to India in 1498. So, by the early 17th century, the Dutch too were exploring the possibilities of trade in the Indian Ocean. Even after that, the Dutch also they were entered. And soon, the French traders also arrived on the sea. See, like this, the different Europeans they were entered one by one. So the first, the Portuguese they were entered, and then afterwards the Dutch too they were entered, and afterwards even the French traders also arrived on the same time. And at last, so we all knows that the British East India Company also so permitted with this royal charter by the Queen Elizabeth, and the British Trading Company also entered. Okay, so the problem was that all the companies were interested in buying the same things. The same thing. So they used to buy here for cheap price and they are selling in the same goods at higher price in the European markets. So what was the problem in this? So all the companies were interested in buying the same things. Especially the fine qualities of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe. ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಸೊ ರೇಷ್ಮೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹತ್ತಿಯ ಬಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಬೇಡಿಕೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So that's what there is a lot of demand for Indian silk and Indian cotton. So the fine qualities of cotton and silk which were produced in India had a big market in Europe. Understood now? So and also dear students, apart from this silk and cotton, so again pepper, cloves, cardamom and cinnamon, what we used to call as the spice items. ಸೊ ಭಾರತದ ಸಾಂಬಾರ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಸಾಲ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಹ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಬೇಡಿಕೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವರ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ in available for cheap rate also, and these European companies they were selling these goods at higher prices in European market. So the competition amongst the European companies so inevitably pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased. Now what happened? So the competition started among these European companies. Okay, now after that what happened? If there is a competition means what about the price? So they were actually so push the price also in this. And after that, again what happened? When they were pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased, and this reduced the profits also. When they were pushed up the price here itself, and the whatever they were gained, the profit in the European market, so that is reduced. So it is automatically it is happening anyhow. So then after that, the only way the trading companies could flourish was by eliminating rival competitors. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಅವರಲ್ಲೇ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಘರ್ಷಣೆಗಳು ಶುರುವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಂದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಸರಿಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಹೀಗೆ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗದಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುವ ಸಂಭವ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಸಹ. See, the urge to secure markets therefore led to fierce battles between the trading companies. Now what happened among all these European companies? Portuguese, Dutch, French and British. So now what happened? So among all these different European companies, so the fierce battles were started among all these trading companies. See, through the 17th and 18th centuries, they regularly sank each other's ships. It is started. ಸೊ ಅವರ ನಡುವೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ? ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್, ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಯುದ್ಧ, ಹೋರಾಟ, ಒಡೆದಾಟ ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ದೇ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್ ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕೇಡೆಡ್ ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅವರ ಹಡಗುಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟೆಡ್ ರಿವಾಲ್ ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. So trade was carried on with arms and trading posts were protected through fortification. ಕೊನೆಗೇನಾಯ್ತು ಮಕ್ಕಳ? Trade was carried on with arms and trading posts were protected through fortification. ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳನ್ನ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಹಡಗುಗಳನ್ನ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಕಾವಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂಭವ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So now what happened when the battle was started amongst all these the different European trading companies, especially Portuguese, Dutch, French and British. Okay, so now what happened? The trade was carried on with arms and trading posts were protected through fortification. ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸೊ ಅವರು ಮಿಲಿಟರಿಯಿಂದ ಭದ್ರ ಕೋಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಅವರು ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತಹ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. See, this effort to fortify settlements and carry on for profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local rulers. And after that what happened? ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲೋಕಲ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ when they were start fortify settlements, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ರಕ್ಷಣೆಗಳ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಮಿಲಿಟರಿಯನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಆಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಲ್ಲ, for this profitable trade. So that led to intense conflict with local rulers also. ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಆ ಲೋಕಲ್ ರೂಲರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ. ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್. So now what happened? The company, especially the East India Company, so that came to know that found it difficult to separate trade from politics. ಕೊನೆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಜಕೀಯವನ್ನ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಸಹ ಬೇರ್ಪಡಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್, ಸೊ they cannot run successfully their trading business and so on so thing, and they cannot gain the lot of profit also. That is found by East India Company. So therefore what happened? So the company found it difficult to separate trade from politics. So let us see how this happened in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.